Talking about unity, staying on the issue of uniting the country, there has been this talk of restructuring, and people have said, without the country being restructured, there will be no peace, and some have even said there will be no election. And I know you have spoken on the issue of restructuring, physical federalism. What are your views? What are your opinions? And if you were elected the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today, how would you ensure that is a kind of restructuring that will bring everlasting peace and tranquility to Nigeria?
I have said, and it's a fact, that life is dynamic. And in the process of this dynamism, that life and everything that goes with it is susceptible to change. What may work yesterday may not have worked today. And what is working today may not work tomorrow. And so in the light of this seeming dynamism, it's important that as a people that we continue to look at ourselves and what binds us together. We continue to look at the feelings and concerns of our people so that everybody will have a sense of belonging and will feel that they are an integral part of the whole. Now, I had said in most of the places I've gone to that there is critical and urgent need for Nigerian Federation to be restructured. But what I've always said is that it is not just enough for anybody to say, oh, I believe in restructuring. I want to restructure when I get there. What aspect of restructuring do you believe in? What is your roadmap into restructuring the Nigerian Federation? And that is critical for me. So that it's not just enough for Nigerian politicians because they think that there are certain people that are advocating for restructuring. But you just go and start saying, I will restructure with a view to getting votes, and when you get votes, you really levitate into thin air. So for me, I said, from whatever angle that anybody will want to look at restructuring from, whether it is going to be from the perspective of resource control, or from the perspective of devolution of power, or from the perspective of true federalism, or from the perspective of true fiscal federalism, or from the perspective of regionalism, statism, state police, creation of additional local governments, and so on and so forth, I believe in restructuring. And when I get there, I'm going to work hard to ensure that indeed the Nigerian Federation is properly restructured. Let us take the issue of devolution of power, for instance. We believe, and that is a fact again, that the federal government is overloaded. There are a lot of things within the Nigerian constitution that are put in the exclusive legislative list, which ordinarily shouldn't be the problem of federal government. We think that a time has now come when most of these powers should be taken to the states and then to the local governments, if indeed we're going to have true federalism. Because in the places, particularly United States of America, where we borrowed our federal presidential system of government from, you discover that most of these things are matters that are left to the states to take care of. But in Nigeria, we get to a point where if you are talking of the construction of a primary health center, you see the president. If you are talking about building a trunk A road, you must see the president. If you are thinking of combating a disease that had just come out, then you must get to the federal government. We've seen that with the case of Ebola and a lot of other things. There are things that you leave to the states, and then the responsibility of the federal government will be coordination where coordination becomes necessary. I'll give you again another example is local government creation. The Constitution has made it possible, so it is, that states, houses of assembly can create additional local governments for the states. Now, as soon as the process goes through the normal, usual law-making process within a state, as enshrined by the Constitution, the bill is passed, the governor assents to it, then the Constitution will tell you that is an incoherent process. You must now take that to the 35 remaining states and the National Assembly for them to assent before that amendment, before that local government, those local governments have been created, will be reflected in the Constitution, and for them now to become local government council recognized by law and by the Constitution. Now, what normally happens is that the Constitution gives the states that power with the right hand and then is taken away by the left hand. We've seen what happened in Lagos State that led to protracted litigations that led to the withholding of the local government funds of Lagos State for almost 2 years. And at the end of the day, the Supreme Court said, yes, indeed, it's an incoherent process.